Eric, you're solo. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Welcome to this podcast. It is a podcast. They actually decided, 3 was good, so they're quitting. It's mine now.
No, he's by himself.
I have decided that it is mine now.
This is the Creative Krunch Podcast.
Yesterday's left turn might be tomorrow's right turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. That's a good idea.
I want to see if we can all hum simultaneously at the same pitch. I don't know how it'll work because I think the audio gets cut. But I can't hear you guys, so I guess I'll find out later if we were all in sync.
I heard both of you.
I think you might have just heard me, or I don't know.
I think I heard Eric too.
And Ben.
I just heard myself.
Nailed it.
I think we got it. I think it was pretty solid.
A-team.
Okay, so all right, so I guess we'll start with a little introduction. All right, so today on the Creative Krunch Podcast, we have Eric Osborn. He is an out-of-this-world wedding photographer. He's based in Cedar Rapids. He's a goofy, genuine, owns 3 pairs of burgundy pants. He's photographed over 90 weddings, and let's all stand up and give Eric a round of applause.
We're standing. Oh, no, okay.
We should get one of those those sound buttons that you can click and applause
just
or cheering or
huge
something.
auditorium. By the way, everybody,
Yeah.
This is a live recording. We have thousands of audiences. They're just in another room. You can't see them.
They're 6 feet apart. They got masks on and all that stuff. But yeah, thousands.
That's who's behind those doors.
They're all at Eric's house.
Yes.
Yeah, but seriously, welcome, Eric. This is pretty exciting. I mean, this is only our 4th episode, but you are our first guest, and what a way to introduce, bringing guests on the podcast. We're super pumped that you're here, and we're super excited to kind of dive into what makks you Eric.
Yeah, so I guess
My name helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start with having you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, maybe how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, so my name is Eric Osborn. I am a full-time wedding photographer. I also do a lot of couple sessions, trying to get a little bit more into doing elopements as well, added in there. I've been, with it being my own business, it's been since the start of 2018, so 2021 will be the 4th year. My fiance Ashley is my second shooter all the time for that. She's very kind to give me her weekends and a lot of her weekdays to help me with stuff. Since she's a lot of the marketing and content writing behind a lot of what I do, but basically take my goofy words and feelings and thoughts and make it into coherent messages for our couples. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I totally get that with the whole marketing side of it. That's an entire job in itself.
Right. I think that's an interesting thing about with you guys know for sure that there's no real way to prep for it. But when you go in to start doing stuff full time, you're like, oh, okay. So I correspond with all the couples. I do all the shooting. I do all the editing. Oh, I also do all of the marketing. Oh, I also do all of the actual networking with vendors. It's just like every time you think you have it figured out, there's another curveball and another job added on. And so by the time you're even just into your first year, you're like on 10 plus jobs, and trying to balance that with life and that kind of stuff too. But also give the best experience for your people, just because you really want it to matter a lot to them, because it matters a lot to you with that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, you nailed that right on the head. As being a small business owner, entrepreneur, whatever, you wear a whole lot of different hats. And especially for me right now, trying to figure out taxes and stuff, trying to be an accountant. No, thank you. I do not.
CPAs are your best friend ever. I would definitely always recommend a CPA, and they're not like crazy expensive with stuff, and they can always help you with like loophole things and make sure you're doing things the right way too. Because I think that was a big thing when I started out on my own. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. Definitely worth a CPA. Just be like, make sure, just please help me. I don't want to get audited.
Yeah.
Just please.
I just don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, please.
I mean, we could talk forever on taxes and boring stuff. No offense to accountants out there, but
I do have a question. So you said you've been doing it for 4 years? Is that?
So I'm on my own, but I worked with a wedding company for 2 years before that. So technically it'll be like my 6th year doing it full time, but in terms of like actually running my own business, like when I left that wedding company, I realized that I was doing like 90% of the work already. But I wasn't getting the fulfillment of being able to do the unlimited hours with couples and like actually like have like a really good, like lasting, like less of a client thing and more of giving them like an actual, like a friendship kind of thing. And that's like what a lot of what we strive for. And I know through a lot of like conversations with you guys, like that's what you like try to do as well. And I think that's a lot of like great stuff with the job itself, is that with running your own business and getting to decide kind of those factors, that helps a lot with basically determining like, oh, hey, like, you know, it's like, I would love to be able to provide like this creative outlet for myself, but also make it so that I can give my couples like this full experience into things where it's like, I would, you know, where it's like, you know, being myself an engaged person, it's like, this is the stuff I want to feel. I want to help like other people feel this way too.
Yeah. And you're kind of in a unique situation because Ben is actually filming you and Ashley's wedding this summer, correct?
Yeah, in September. So yeah.
So this fall.
Close, yeah.
So yeah, you definitely get kind of an inside look at like how Ben does things. And I know that
That's right.
exactly what you were saying. He's very good about, you know, building those relationships and making it feel important rather than just, you know, another vendor you're hiring. But I thought that'd be good for the listeners or viewers, however they consume the podcast, to know that
we're trying to hide it. Now you pulled back the curtain.
Yeah, we're just right out there. Eric and Ashley went with Graphic Formation Films and not Reed Shepherd Films.
But yeah, you also get that unique opportunity to like plan your wedding. So now you get to kind of see what it's like from their perspective, like your client's perspective.
Right. Oh yeah, that's totally. And that was a thing too, where it was when we got our engagement photos done this last July. And it was definitely a super refreshing experience for both Ashley and I. Like Ashley doesn't do all of the stuff full time, but she does help me quite a bit with a lot of the actual like sides of the business. So seeing for both of us, like seeing the actual other side of the lens really gave us a really fresh version of like, this is how it really feels to like be on that side. And instead of it being like a thing where it's like, we know how uncomfortable it can be, it's like we really dove into like, if we literally just like, you basically like, you don't get any of that uncomfortable feeling like after the first 5 minutes. Like there's always the jitters of like the anticipation is the worst part. But like when you really click with who you like chose and like you're like really assured like with who it is, it's super rewarding. Not even just like getting the actual like photos back or like, you know, or whatever medium that you are or whatever, but like the actual like the experience itself. Because like that for us was like a super huge indicator of like, okay, like this is where like good trigger points of emotion are for people to like actually like for myself to be like, oh, okay, here's like how I can actually like make them feel like really great in these moments and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like it's a thing where I'm sure you guys hear it all the time, but like where people say all the time, they're like, oh, we're not like camera people, or we're really camera shy or anything like that. And then it's like, you just make us look good. And a thing that like I find it anymore where it's like everyone is self-conscious to like certain degrees, but having it be where it's like a thing I always tell everybody the second they tell me that is that I like, you make you look good. We're just here to help other people see it and to capture you in the most genuine way possible, but in the most flattering like way for you. So like getting them actually doing the stuff that they genuinely enjoy and like who they actually are, instead of just being like if they like boating and fishing, like, okay, let's go do stuff that involves that, instead of just being like, you like boating and fishing, that's cool, but there's this really pretty park that has like great trees, like, you know, instead of doing that kind of stuff. So it's really about like getting to know the people, so that you can actually like make a genuine connection and make those moments and like fill in those moments with stuff, which is where it's like a thing too, where I think is a thing where it's like with and Reed, I apologize, I don't know if like your business offers this, but where it was, I saw where it was with like Ben's, where it was like you can add on like video for like an engagement video kind of thing, that lends itself like to that kind of stuff. So where it was when you guys talked about on your last podcast about making it so like, because I used to do video before I ever shot photo, so where it's I totally like get, and where you say like it's a full encompassing of the moment, and like our brain fills in the gaps between photos and stuff. So it's really good to have those kind of things to fill in the gaps and that kind of thing. And I could do, I think myself included, I think every other vendor can do a good job about like making sure that like videographers are seen as a more necessary part of a wedding day, and not just like it's like, oh yeah, this is a luxury thing. It's like, no, you really want, you know, like this kind of stuff to actually like decades later when, you know, say, you know, God forbid if like, you know, family members pass or whatever else, it's like you want those lasting memories, you know, to hold on to those kind of moments and those kind of things for those people.
I really like what you said though about the whole making it about like the whole thing about the pose, like, oh, this park's really pretty, and instead of going boating. I totally get that. I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with sunset portraits. Like, sometimes I do these sunsets and I'm like, I mean, is this like the couple though? Like, are they this lovey-dovey all the time? So sometimes if I feel like the couple's not like all lovey-dovey, maybe I'll just have them kind of goof around. Like, they just run and swing their arms rather than all like cuddly and kissy. If that makes kissy a word, kissy.
Yeah, kissy. Yeah, go ahead and kissy.
But yeah, like, so sometimes couples aren't like all over each other like other couples.
Right.
So yeah, I really like that, and I think that's cool. Rather than all these like staged poses that isn't really telling the couple's story.
Yeah, it's so important to really capture the personality of your couple, and you know, just kind of bring that to life, whether that's with photos or with video. You know, you want them to be happy with what they're getting. You don't want them to look at those photos or those videos and be like, yeah, I mean, that looks really cool. That's very like cinematically pleasing or very photogenic. I don't, what would be the word for cinematic, like on the photo side?
I mean, I feel like cinema was like, it's based on like moving pictures. So like, it's still like, you're still talking about composition. So I feel like cinematic is still, you know, the same is right. I feel like that's still right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, you know, it's cool. Like, it's cool if it's super cinematic and it looks really awesome, but you want to make sure your couple's going to look at those down the road and be like, oh wait, that is absolutely 100% us. And you want them to remember like a good experience with their photographer and their videographer. And the way you're going to do that is by, you know, capturing their personality. So yeah, that was awesome what you said, Eric.
So cool. What, let's see, next question. What do we have on here? How do you get into a creative mindset? So like, So we can just start with maybe when you're at a wedding. What do you feel like gets you into that creative flow?
Yeah. So like, so if Ashley is there with me during the day, so say they want 2 photographers and that's what we do. So we always like have conversations beforehand about like who the couple are and what we've done with them previously and what we talked about. And then, I'm a super, like, I'm an introverted extrovert. So where it's like when I actually get to the wedding and I'm like super like excited about like the day, I'm very at the forefront of things. But when it like before like it gets there, like on the drive, I'm driving there like super quiet, like just like completely in my own head, just like basically like storing all of my mental energy and like creativity. Cause like even at the day when it's like a super awesome like wedding, I'm just like, I'm burnt. Like I expelled literally everything that I am and that I have. So it's just like, even if it's like you're just like running on adrenaline, like driving home, just like, oh yeah, that was so good, and we nailed this one part and like that, and like this like super awesome interaction, that kind of stuff. But in terms of like where it's like I'm storing that energy to then where it's a thing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, that's super important for vendors especially, is every single person that is around the bride and groom is going to take the cue off of how you interact with them when you first show up for the whole rest of the day. They're like, okay, that's their relationship. So if you just show up and you're like that low key, like super, like just in your head, like on the way drive there, and you like take that in to when you're actually there at the wedding, they're going to think you're like this standoffish kind of like, you know, very quiet person, and they need to take charge, where it's like when you show up, you want to feel like they can trust you to like take charge. Exactly. And to like, you know, you're the professional, you're supposed to, you know, you're the professional, that kind of thing. So where, you know, like being like, hey, how's it going? How are you? Like, what have you been up to? It's, you know, it's like, it's only been like, you know, maybe even like a couple days or like weeks since we talked. Like, what's new? Or like, how's your morning been going? Like that kind of stuff. As soon as like you are super buddy with them, like everybody else is like, oh my gosh, they're just like one of our friends. Like, no big deal.
Exactly.
Like they're not even gonna like bat an eye at it. But if you like are like combative or just like, oh, my drive really like sucked, like getting here, and like this thing happened this morning and I couldn't believe it, and yada yada, like come on, like that, you know. Or it's just like, you know, it's, you know, it's like that double-edged sword kind of thing, where it's like they are, you know, like you do want to approach it as like you are their friend and that kind of stuff, but you need to give people that impression when you get there, kind of thing. And it's definitely not like I'm at like 97 some weddings now or something. Ooh, and like that's still like not like an easy thing to do, because that's just not my personality, is to just be like super upfront with people who I've never met in my life besides the bride or the groom, you know.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. And so where it's just, you know, it's like you have to just like literally just be like, I'm gonna do this, like this is gonna be great. Because if you mentally are in the mindset of this is going to suck, it's going to suck no matter what you do. So it's that just like putting that effort into like actually like you have to really care, and your bar has to be high for you to do that kind of stuff. And that kind of goes in like hand in hand with like making sure like as the couple too, like doing your due diligence and making sure like you vibe with that. Because not everyone is there, you know, on like that level of where they want to be, or like making sure other vendors are there too. Because if everybody's level is here and then their level is down, for those listening just audio, I'm raising my hand up very high. If your bar is very high and one vendor's bar is very high and others is very low, the other people are going to drag the one that's very high down. And you don't want that, you know. You want everyone to kind of be on the same page. So it's just making sure that everybody gels well and that kind of thing. And they all have, you know, it's like I want to treat everyone's wedding like it's my like wedding, not in terms of like I do what I want, but it's like that it's very important and it's only going to happen once, and I want this to be the best for them.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I kind of have a follow-up question on that. Do you have any like pre-wedding rituals? Like, you know, how some football players have their songs they listen to or whatever. Do you have any ritual before you go into a wedding?
Oh,
He's out in his car listening to Spice Girls or something. Yeah.
So tell me what your mom would you rather do. No, I honestly, it's just like either I listen to podcasts or music. A lot of times it's music to like hype me up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like music a lot, you know, to kind of get like in that kind of like that creative like mindset of like what we want to accomplish for the day and that kind of thing. And it's just like anything that where it was a lot of stuff you guys talked about on your last like podcast with stuff is where it was just, you know, like the music that kind of like gets you into like the creative flow kind of deal of things.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
I like what you said earlier about going there and kind of acting more like, the way I took it is like acting more like you're excited to be there.
Right.
And it's not like you're there for the paycheck. You're there because you love what you're doing, and you're there to, you're excited to be a part of their wedding. And I think that helps couples feel way more relieved knowing like they're just as excited about this as we are. So that's good.
Yeah. And I think too, the thing for like people not to misconstrue with that too is where it's like not to it shouldn't be an act either. You should genuinely care, because if you are making it an act and like super fake, people will tell, and they'll take that cue off you too. They're just like, oh, okay, like they don't actually care.
Yeah, and it can
about,
be exhausting if you're always acting all the time.
Yeah. You should like, yeah. Anybody who is in this profession who doesn't want to be doing weddings shouldn't be doing it. You should really be doing this because you love weddings and you love interacting with the couples. And kind of the second that kind of stuff goes away is probably when you should think about quitting. Like this really isn't the profession for people who are just kind of in it for the money. But
I think it's also important to note that like your interaction with the couple is really important, but also like your interaction with the other vendors, because like the couple is gonna see how you interact with, like if you're just kind of pushing over all the other vendors, they're gonna see that and see it's not a good look.
That actually brings up a perfect question that someone commented on our Facebook. Max Johnson, who's been mentioned on this podcast quite a bit. He asked, how do you guys deal, like with Ben was talking about different vendors, how do you guys deal with a photographer or videographer that you might not necessarily click with? That doesn't happen too often, at least not for me, but I have had an experience with that. So
it was me. It was with me. So.
Yeah. I hate working with Ben.
Going to fly the drone when he needed you for a speech.
Yeah, let's get back into that.
Sorry for the throwback. I apologize. Sorry.
So how do you go about dealing with that?
I think that it goes into like it's the double. It comes from both your side and from the couple's side too. Is like making sure that like the vendors follow as a couple your personality and like what you want and like with the actual work besides just the work itself too. And then it's also up to the vendors themselves to kind of not have an ego about the thing, about like the actual day itself, because you know where it's really about them. And if they really, really wanted to, like, not saying that that's the ideal for them, they could replace you with someone else if you're going to be a jerk. Mm-hmm. So it's really about, you know, like making sure the priorities are in the right area. And it's really about the couple and about, you know, like actually giving them the actual, like, best day that you could. So, again, like making sure the bar is there. Like, you want to make sure that the bar is there for everyone. But again, if there are issues, like making sure that it isn't in front of other people too, like being on this, like you can be on the sideline and have a disagreement and come to like a proper like actual conclusion with that and a solution with that. But it, don't go out of your way to make an issue about something that doesn't need to be an issue, kind of thing. And a lot of that leads to as well, it's like if you have open communication about like, okay, like here's where we'll be for the videographers have a very like it needs to be a very like kind of static layout when it comes to the ceremony. Like, okay, we need this angle and we need this angle, and photographers really don't have a static thing. So it's about like whenever it's like my kind of stuff, I always go like, okay, where do you need to be? And then I will adjust like what we need to do. Like we both need a lot of like the same kind of shots, but that doesn't mean I don't have to be in your way to get them. And I don't have to be in front of all your angles. Like, so it's just that kind of like an open communication, especially on the day of, and like knowing actually like, again, like everyone else is going to take their cues off of how you interact with people as well. And so, yeah, I think it all just boils down to, honestly, just you gotta want to do it. You gotta want to, like, make sure that it isn't about you. Like, it's like, is video and photo important? Absolutely. Is it more important than like, where it's like, is your argument more important than like covering this certain part of their day? No, not really. Because as soon as that day is over, like you're probably going to forget about that argument, but they're not going to. They're going to remember that forever. So it's like, is that really like, is that really the soapbox you want to stand on, in that moment? Exactly. It's a lot about perspective and open communication.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I've ever had that kind of instance happening either. That would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect answer for that, is just communicate. Not only like, so if you're someone that's getting into photography or videography and want to get into weddings, take exactly what Eric said and just live by that. Communicate, not only with the couple, but ask about the other vendors, and just do what you can to be 100% on the same page. And then 99% of the time you're going to avoid issues.
And by doing that too, you save yourself a lot too, because when you are communicating more than you even need to, people come to you as like, oh, this is the person and this is the professional in those instances. And that's how you want people to see you, because that's not where you're going to get all of your inquiries from, is from like guests at past weddings, but you might get some, and you never know when they're going to happen. So you always kind of want to be on the top there when it comes to of like actually making sure that you are doing that and giving like 110% in those instances, and making sure that you are openly communicating with not only like other vendors, but like, it could be even wedding party, where it's like, okay, you get one set done. You can then approach like, the bridesmaids, be like, okay, so like, it's really warm outside, so we don't want you to be out there a super long time. We know that you're getting like, you're pulling the bouquets out of the bases and that kind of stuff, and getting them dried off. So what we'll do is we'll do these sets first, and we'll get these done. And then we'll do the group and then get everybody in so that everybody can like come back inside and cool down. And then we'll bring everybody else back out. And so it's making sure that not only the bride and groom know that, but other people know too, so that they can help you. Even if it's not their like responsibility to do those things, it's just like, it saves yourself the frustration of like, if you're dealing with 20 wedding party members, like it doesn't hurt anything to just verbalize those things out loud, because then they know to come to you. And that's what you want. You don't want them to be like, well, you don't know what's going on, so let's like, we probably don't need to be anywhere, so let's just go. Like you want them to be there with that kind of stuff to help you. So even if it's not like doing things for you, it's just literally knowing what's going on, that helps you.
Yeah. I like that. Let's cut right here and have a break from our sponsor. Go ahead, Eric. I think we talked about creative juices flowing.
Can we talk about how funny of a word that is? Like
creative
juices. Like, what do you think that looks like?
You're just like editing and juice. Yeah.
Like, I think of like rainbow, like colors of like paint just like dripping down. I don't know. Every time I hear that, yeah.
Oh, that's actually perfect.
Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry. I was just
I
curious
like
what you
that.
guys thought creative juices look like.
I'm just imagining sitting at a computer and you just have like juice just like squeezing out of you as you're like hard at work. You're like, and juice is just like seeping out of you.
It gives me a that gives me a good idea for a TikTok. So whenever we wrap this up,
Oh shoot! Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
you're just gonna have somebody pour juice over you.
Yeah. You just sit there, you're working, and just like juice just falls all over you. And that's my creative juice.
All right, so here we go.
I'm back
I
on
assume we're
task.
back. Are we back or are we cutting here?
Well, I hope that creative juice part's in the podcast.
All right, sounds good. All right, so tell me this. Okay, so you have I'm sure you have a standard workflow, like for most weddings and stuff. Or like when you're editing, you have like a workflow for how you do things or how you edit a photo. What ways have you been creative recently where you've tried something new? I think I said GIFs.
I think it's GIF, but it should be GIF, but whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to imagine what a GIF of like a first look would look like. You'd be like, all right, start walking. And you're just like for like 3 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, like, yeah, like to really get into it, like you said, 30 photos a second or something, that's similar to like frame rate. I mean, I think that is frame rates on like the video side. So it's just a cool way to take, photos and kind of add a little bit of movement to them. I don't even know how to go about making a GIF or a GIF or however you would do it, but all right, we'll talk after this.
No, I think that's cool. It's almost like video and photo are coming together, and I'm trying to imagine eventually you're gonna get these companies that are either they say they're offering video or they say they're offering photo, and essentially they'll get you both. And like for like photos, you get like the stills from the video because it'd be just like taking a GIF, like you're taking if they're taking 24 photos in a second, then you'd get just as high a quality photo as if you had a photographer. But I feel like that'll years down the road still. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow. Wow. All of that. Yeah, that would take a lot of processing power. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Well, cool. So, gifts is something that you learned, or something that you've been doing recently. What would you say is probably the most recent thing that you've learned, even if it's maybe not something someone understands? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Mm. Mm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something people don't realize, like you were saying, is how important it is to, make time for yourself too. Because when you own your own business or whatever you're doing, I know probably all three of us struggle with this. Like if we get a email or an inquiry, like any time of day, like we want to answer that and we want to respond to it or whatever. It is just so important to take those breaks and have some you time. Whether you time is like with your girlfriend, with your fiance, with your wife, whatever. Um, but even for me, so like when I finish like a highlight film, I need like at least 2 days before I get into like another film, just because I like need to reset creatively.
Mm.
Um, so I liked what you were saying about how like you need that time off sometimes to be able to give 110% to your couples and your clients and stuff. But something I really related to there.
That's cool. I like that. Um, do you feel like, okay, are you creative in more than one area? Um, and like what are the different areas, do you feel like? Okay. Mm.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. I
You like
got
open the
this.
case and you get in it. Yeah. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, that would be
Oh,
sweet.
that's cool. W- Yeah.
I feel the same way. I didn't think I'd enjoy weddings as much, and when I did my first one, I was like, "Wow, this is a lot of fun."
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
like
cool.
that.
When
Um.
you when you
Yeah. Go ahead,
shot
Reed.
sorry, it's not off topic, but kind of when you did Mumford and Sons, where was that? In Waverly? Yeah, I was at that concert. I grew up in Waverly. Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Tip. I'm gonna
That's a
remember
good tip.
that.
Yeah. No. I don't need that right now.
I don't have time for this. I'm gonna
Are you
fire
kidding
you.
me? Yeah. You're fired. We're done. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. One of our paths ever crossed.
You're in that spot with the pit, but you don't even have your photo. You don't even have your camera. Your camera's just
He
like
took a picture. He took a picture of the fans, and I was in the crowd. Funny story. I had to leave early because I worked for Jimmy John's, and so I like wore my Jimmy John's uniform to the concert because I had to go like deliver because it was like there's a ton of people coming into town. So I like wore my Jimmy John's outfit to the concert, and then like had to bail with like 3 songs left or something like that. So if you got a shot of a Jimmy John's employee, that was me.
nice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh.
Okay, I think we got one more question for you, and then we'll end with what inspired us.
Do you want to ask one of ours, or I know Kayla asked a question.
Oh, we can ask that one too.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what. Go ahead.
What? Okay. So we got another question on our Facebook post. She asks, "What is your advice for couples comparing and contrasting pricing and different benefits/packages for any photo and video for their video or for their wedding? Do you have any tips on what specifically to look for when doing the comparison? Like when you're shopping around, do you have any tips?" Yep. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. It's, mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we had somebody message us recently, and they were wondering about like doing like payment plans like after the wedding, and I just told them like we don't want to be a financial burden to you guys, and I'm sure you can find somebody that isn't going to stress you out financially, and they're still going to give you something you're going to love. And I even was like, we'll help you find something that's not quite as. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, should we?
Yeah, it was a lot of good info.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
People are. If you've made it this far, I hope you had a notebook throughout that whole thing.
yeah.
A lot of good tips and advice, and
Yeah.
yeah, good call. Rewatch it and give us a penny every time you listen.
Yeah, I think we're up to 30 cents on our sponsorship right now. And we owe
We'll cut the gumball up. Yeah.
we owe Eric 50% of that. But no, yeah, tons of awesome information and just good overall conversation. So we like to end our podcast. You sound like you've listened to it before, so first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
But we like to end our podcast by talking about something that recently like has either inspired us or something we want to do to be better or whatever. But yeah, what is something that has inspired you recently? Mm-hmm. Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those photos, by the way, were awesome. I remember I messaged you
Yeah,
when
those
you
little
posted them.
lanterns
Yeah.
that you had in there. Yeah, that was
Write
really
that
cool.
down.
Maybe we should
Okay.
include one of those in our Instagram post.
Yeah. No, I was gonna
that would
say
be
if
cool.
you want to send us a few photos,
From that, yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah. We'll tag ourselves Creative Krunch photos, Creative
Yeah.
Krunch photography.
Yeah. What about you, Reed?
I was gonna say that too, but I speaking of kind of an elopement type of thing, I booked my first destination elopement yesterday. So this fall I get to head out to Yosemite National Park in California, and I am super pumped about that. And yeah, um, I'm super pumped to travel out there and kind of try something new. I've never done an elopement before, and the couple's well aware of that. Like we've just been completely in communication, and yeah, they're super pumped to have me, and I'm super pumped to film it with them, for them, not with them. Here, take my camera and film it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. And then actually Ben is planning on coming with me too as my second shooter. So yeah, that's super inspiring. It makes me want to keep going and keep doing weddings and hopefully kind of break into the destination wedding market or the elopement market. And yeah, so that's mine. Your turn, Ben.
Yeah. So
Sidewalks, rugs.
Yeah, rugs, light bulbs. Yeah. No, so it kind of goes back to kind of what Eric, you were saying earlier about like you did wedding photography, and like once you did wedding photography, you were like knowing that you're doing it and like people are gonna be looking back at like these photos after like generations will be looking back at these photos and stuff. No, so like I had gotten my tooth pulled and I was in so much pain, and this dental surgeon, she was like so good at what she was doing. She was just so quick, so knowledgeable, and the moment that like she had like released the pain, like made the pain go away in my face, I just felt so much relief. And in that moment, I could not help but like relate it to like when I deliver a film to a couple, just thinking of like the joy of them like having this film, all these memories, to like her being rewarded with like being able to like relieve my pain. And I was like, it was just really inspiring thinking about how all these different professions probably have their own rewards, and to like her going home and maybe like telling her husband like, oh, I relieved this weirdo's tooth pain. And he was like I was to the point where I was almost in tears because of how much it helped me. And I like in that moment I thought to myself, I was like, I should like show her appreciation for what she did. Like I was like, thank you for doing what you did. That helped me so much. So yeah, it was so puffy, but in that moment I was like, oh my God, you just helped me so much. I really appreciate you. So yeah, just like coming to that realization that like everyone kind of has their own rewards in their professions. They're just in different ways. So yeah, I thought that was pretty inspiring. Yeah.
We should twist that as when you got your tooth pulled, it inspired you.
Yeah.
just to keep it on brand with just your You're out of the box inspirations. Like
rugs. My neighbor shoveling his sidewalk.
This is like, dang, that makes me want to go shovel.
Speaking of that, I should probably go shovel my sidewalk.
Yeah. No, yeah, this definitely a good podcast. I think it was pretty successful having our very first guest on. So
yeah, a little longer than usual, but I think if there's anybody that's wanting to get into the wedding photography game, hopefully they stick around and listen to all these tips. So
very knowledgeable. Eric, cool. Where can our listeners and viewers find you on social or? Yeah. Yeah, go check him out. He does amazing work, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and that's a wrap.
This is the Creative Krunch Podcast.
Yesterday's left turn might be tomorrow's right turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. That's a good idea.